You're anti-trans.
Anyway, yeah, so this is someone called Stormy Talks. This is why are so many labels similar to each other? You'll see what labels I'm talking about.
What's up, everyone? Alex here, and welcome to
Yeah, so labels, you know, like these kind of things.
my little corner of the internet. We are going back to the topic of labels, and I wanted to talk about why there are so many similar labels that exist in the overall queer community.
I should have focused on the African and Middle Eastern countries, but instead the content pushing in the West is convincing those Eastern Europe countries to be more oppressive. Yeah, potentially. I mean, it doesn't, like, what it's turned into now is, like, way too much, in my opinion. I think more conservative countries are going to definitely look at what it's turned into and be like, yeah, we don't want any of that. Because even someone like me, I'm not a conservative in any way. But, like, so much of, like, the Pride shit has, like, gone way too far. It's like, we don't need Pride Month. Like, I like the Pride festivals, or I used to. I don't go to them anymore for my own reasons, but, like, all the, like, weird naked shit, like, all the weird fetish masks that people wear, and, like, all the weird clips you see of, like, old men twerking in front of kids, and, like, naked people, like, waving at, like, kids and stuff, and it's just, no one seems to give a shit about, like, safeguarding. Uganda are recriminalizing homosexuality as an example of this. Yeah. I mean, we don't put a great image on for the rest of the world. We look like degenerates, so, like, no wonder we get treated like them, you know?
Obviously, within the specific trans community, because I don't really specialize in like orientation terms or concepts. I like
We're talking about genders, basically.
it's not something I try to like really get into, but for gender labels, there's a lot of very similar gender labels that it's kind of hard to keep track of what the
I did a bit of research. Reclaiming the pink triangle is definitely not a good idea. Made to represent sex offenders. Yeah, I mean, fuck knows. I mean, stuff changes meaning, that's fair enough. I don't really care about reclaiming, except for the word retard, which I am trying to reclaim. And as a proud retard, I should be able to do that. But that's about it. I'm not really, like, they reclaim queer. I hate the word queer, although a lot of it's to do with that I just have no idea what it means, and it just gets thrown around, and it's, like, dumb, in my opinion. You know, if straight people can call themselves something, like just completely normal ass fucking people that aren't different in any way, then it's probably not me. That sounds like I'm being like, oh, well, I'm not like those normies, but it's like, well, no, I actually am kind of different to many people. So if someone is like everyone else and can just say that they're like trans or queer or something, it feels like, well, how does that define me then, if it also defines people that have got nothing to do with me? But hey, that's why I'm against the trans umbrella stuff. I don't think there is a trans umbrella.
The differences are, a lot of them sound very similar, a lot of them have very similar definitions, but
transgenders, and I use that term, you know, I don't think any of these are transgenders. I think they're just weird gender terms. It's like metal music subgenres. Like if you are someone that doesn't really listen to metal like me, and you hear other people like talking about all these different subgenres, it's very easy to get mixed up, you know? I'm autistic and been called retarded behind my back. Yeah, same. But being a slur is still ridiculous to me. I don't consider it a slur. I used to consider it a slur. I used to get offended by it because I know I have mental health issues. I don't always speak the best, as you can tell. Especially not today for some reason. So like, yeah, people call me that kind of shit, but it's like, I don't fucking know. And like, I don't like slurs in general. Like, I find that when it comes to like slurs and stuff, like people just talk around them anyway. So why not just let people just say them? Like, is it more traumatic being called like a tranny or being called like a train? You know what I mean? Like, who cares at this point? I'd rather know straight away if someone's like that anti-trans or whatever, that I might want to keep away from them, because that kind of gives me power in a way. If someone says, if I hear someone like using words like tranny in conversation, like I know straight away, like maybe that's not someone to deal with, unless it's like, I don't know. Depends how I say it, I guess, but I don't care about swearing, but I draw the line at saying slurs like NFT. Yeah, I mean, I like stuff like the N-word. I I don't really say much about, really, because I'm not black. And the same for, like, you know, other slurs for other types of people. But I mean, I've heard plenty of black people say that they actually prefer if people just call them the N-word, because at least they know where they stand. And at least they you know, they don't have to, like, oh, are they really racist, or am I just imagining it? Whereas if someone said the N-word, it's like, yeah, there's one right there, I guess. I don't know. I prefer that people would just say shit. What I know, the definition of queer is a gay communist. Yeah, probably. Fuck me.
Usually there's a distinction between the differences between the labels. Sometimes it's because people coined, like, two different terms around the same time, and then they ended up very similar to one another. And some people just have label preferences, even if they're almost identical in definition. Maybe someone...
You say the F slur a lot despite being bi. I don't really... none of that shit really bothers me, to be honest. I used to call... I don't know if I still call my partner, like, that kind of stuff, but I definitely have before. I'll be honest. And she calls me stuff like that. Like, it's funny when you're like together and stuff. When you know someone's like joking, it's when you don't know they're joking is when it's like, you know, makes you think a bit more.
One prefers one over the other. One big one that I talked about in a previous video was non-binary versus abinary. And the simplest way to explain it is that
abinary. Never heard that one before. Abinary. I'm sure that's a really important thing that anyone in the world identifies as. Because that's what you do, right? You just identify as a gender? I'm not sure anymore. Fair enough.
Non-binary is not fully male or female. Any
non-binary is not fully male or female.
Gender that is not fully male or not fully female.
Which, male and female aren't gender terms, they're sex terms, but okay. You identify as a butterfly. Oh, how nice. Hi, Renoa85, hope you're doing well.
So, non-binary can include terms like demi-boy or demi-girl that are related to the binary. It can include being genderless, being neutroid, being gender fluid, gender...
Yeah, neutroids, penguins. That's an important one.
Flux. So, just anything that is not fully related to the gender binary. Abinary is completely removed from the gender binary, and it has another term, aphorian. So that would be not at all related to being male or female. So,
well, no, you have... pretty much everyone is male or female. I think, I didn't... How do I explain this, like, demi shit when I barely understand it myself? I guess it's like your gender is male if you're a demi boy, but like you only half feel like a boy or something. I don't know. This all feels very fantastical to me. I'm trying to like learn more in case there's something I missed, but what I find is that it just all feels made up. Like anyone can call themselves anything, like, and the vast majority of the time, if you say something like, oh, I identify as a demigirl, 99% of people are going to be like, what the fuck is that? You know? And like, what was it? Femboy, tomboy. Oh, we can't say those anymore because like most of the femboys and tomboys are trans now, I guess.
Neutrality can be counted as an abinary identity. Demi-boy and demi-girl would not be considered because they have a connection to the gender binary in that they are...
Yes, it's super important. Important we know the difference between non-binary and abinary.
Partly boy, partly girl, so...
Your son says himself he is a femboy. Then if you have any HRT of any kind in your house, then just watch him around them because he might try and take some. I don't know why you would, but hey. I've started separating transsexual and transgender like Buck does. Sexual for true trans condition, gender for illogical version. Yeah, I'm the same. I use transsexual because it separates me from like this kind of stuff, I guess. Because I just don't identify with any of this kind of stuff. I don't know what most of it means.
Abinarity is entirely removed from the gender binary. Some people consider themselves to be non-binary, but not
I do find it hard to believe it took us until 2024 for anyone to feel demi of a gender. I don't know when it was like coined or whatever, but then terms get fucking literally coined on like Tumblr for this kind of shit. So it's like, you know, is any of this actually real? Who fucking knows?
Abinary. Some people are abinary and they don't consider that non-binary, but it is under the non-binary umbrella. Agender, gender null, and gender void. A lot of terms that...
Tumblr without the E is a website. There used to be loads of like trans and other queers on there. I think they used to allow porn, but they don't anymore, because my partner used to use it a lot. Cissexual. Oh yeah. I use the word cis as like an opposite to trans, but that's about it. I try not to call people cis. Demi boy and demi girl. Doesn't that mean? Yeah, probably. I don't fucking know. I'm not the one like pushing this stuff.
Generally talk about agenderlessness. Agender being a lack of gender identity.
Yeah, see, a lack of gender identity is even a gender identity. Like, what? Like, I don't think I really have much of a gender identity. I just kind of exist. I experienced gender dysphoria and I transitioned. I don't know that I identify as a woman. I don't even know what that fucking means to do. Truscum was invented on Tumblr, yeah.
More like just not applicable. There's nothing there. Nothing applied, like no gender term really applies to.
Because like this feels a little bit like saying atheism is a religion or something, you know?
To that person. Gender null is more so an emptiness, a nullification of gender. So whereas gender null might be represented by an empty glass for...
What's the difference? There's an emptiness there or there's nothing there? What's emptiness? Do I have anything that's empty? This is empty. There's nothing in here. It's empty. That's the same fucking thing. My gender identity is having no gender. Yeah, exactly. It's like saying my religion is atheism. That doesn't make sense.
Agender people, there is no glass. Gender void.
Oh wow, that's so deep. Oh my god. There is no glass. Someone's been watching Philosophy Tube.
Void is an empty space, like a void, where gender feels like it should be. So
it's the same thing. What?
It's more of a, there should be something here, but there's nothing here. It's empty. Whereas agender...
My ADHD brain questions about how people can hold some of this gender stuff. Well, he probably has it written down on like a script or something. But like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to keep up even if I thought any of this was real, to be honest with you. I have no idea what any of this kind of stuff is for, but it exists. In so much as people say it exists, at least.
It doesn't recognize that there even should be anything there.
Wait, is that what I am? Hang on. Maybe I do believe in this after all. I'm going to betray everyone.
There's nothing here. It's empty.
What I was going to do was like be like a massive true scum until I got loads and loads of followers and then just switch it up and then just grift for the other side. But maybe I'm going to do that now. Who knows? Oh, no problem, just an insert show. I'll see you soon.
Whereas agender doesn't recognize that there even should be anything there.
So it's so ungender that it's still a gender identity. These are the same thing. An empty glass, nothing, and not even nothing. This is like when you get different shades of black, where it's like midnight black, coal black, ebony black. They're all black. You can't fucking tell the difference. Fuck me.
They are not, like that idea is not applicable to them. My favorite, polygender versus multigender.
Yeah, it is odd. You get a lot of like gender abolitionists who are like super into this shit. This doesn't feel like abolition, but I don't know. I'm not a gender abolitionist.
There is quite a lot of conflating between these two terms. Polygender is typically used to refer to being more than one gender, and a lot of the
so this is the trans version of DID, basically.
Time, it is a non-specific way to say I have more than one gender.
I'm hoping he's going to explain how one has more than one gender, but I'm guessing it's like being a drag queen and you just dress differently, which is the same as DID, incidentally.
So polygender can be any number of genders in part or in whole. So, 2 partial genders, 3 partial genders, multiple genders. Things like pangender, omnigender would fall under the
DID is dissociative identity disorder. I don't know what it used to mean and what it traditionally means, but these days it's mostly queer people that go on TikTok and pretend that they have all different people living in their head. And they'll go on camera and be like, hi, I'm Mark. I'm the protector of my system, because the system is the group of alternate personalities. And then the next day they'll be like, oh, hi, I'm Steve. I'm different because I wear a hat or something. That's what DID is. I don't know. If you look it up on TikTok, you'll soon get the impression. Like schizophrenic. If you tried to make schizophrenia trendy, then I guess it would look something like what TikTok has decided DID is, if that makes sense. Some claim non-binary people claim that pronouns have no gender. What the fuck? Pronouns aren't gendered, then misgendering doesn't exist. True. I don't have TikTok if you refuse to download it. Based. Yeah. That's the best way. But yeah, it's one of those things that is like super trendy on like TikTok or whatever. So like all these people will pretend that they have all these different like characters living in their heads. Some people will have these alters of like real people. It's pretty mad. But yeah, I mean, I actually think pronouns are gendered. I don't think they're sexed, and I don't think they're what you should give to people.
Polygender label. Mult-gender is a little bit more specific. It refers to anything that polygender is underneath mult-gender.
What?
Things like pangender, omnigender would fall under the polygender label. Mult-gender is a little bit more specific. It refers to anything that polygender is underneath mult-gender in a lot of ways, where mult-gender is the larger, like, being demigender, being gender fluid, gender flux, an implication of multiple genders, or gender express.
This is like so much shit, so many words and shit like that. But like, I feel a bit more feminine some days than others. You know what I mean? It's like this is the deepest thing ever came up with. But I'm just like, what? I mean, okay, if this is something you're interested in, sure. But like, and this is the shit that's like swept through fucking trans communities. So it's like, great, okay. I guess this is our shit, apparently.
Expressions or just a difference in genderedness.
Like, this sounds like a really, really important thing. So important that anyone who disagrees with any of it is like a terrible bigot and stuff like that. Nara Blood Eye. Guy is just world building. Yeah, pretty much. Good to see you. Reef Foundation. Hi. Just amazing people are making this up and claiming it's real. Yeah. I mean, well. Sounds like a lot of something, but basically saying nothing. Maybe I'm too old with almost 39 years. Do they have nothing else to do in their lives? I mean, I guess I'm watching them, so you could say that about me. But I don't know why this is interesting or important to people, but it's like I said, it's swept through like trans communities. Like, if you're not into this kind of shit, then fuck you. That's what trans communities are like now.
Over time.
Oh, thanks.
Because a lot of people say they're demigender, but they don't really see that as multiple genders, multiple distinct.
Yeah, I assume demi was like half, like not feeling entirely. I don't fucking know. I actually have no idea.
Singular genders. It just means that you're part one gender, without specifying another part. So multi-gender is the larger umbrella. Polygender is underneath that.
We've got umbrellas on top of umbrellas on top of umbrellas. Listen, this is why the trans umbrella needs to go. It's not a thing. Just get rid of it. There should be a queer umbrella maybe, or a non-binary umbrella. But what's this got to do with trans? Nothing. And this isn't a video about trans, to be fair. But then this gets like lumped in constantly. And we've got this like trans umbrella. And it's like, here's trans, and then a bunch of stuff that's got nothing to fucking do with it. Great. This would all be okay with people to have fun with, as long as they didn't enforce it as reality. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, I think this is goofy as fuck. If, like, it was just some people that, like, are interested in their own self-expression and don't really see it as, like, a movement or a thing they should have rights over, I really wouldn't care. It's the fact that it's, like, completely taken over, like, trans spaces, and this is, like, enforced as fact when it's, like, there is nothing about anything this guy is saying that really, like, tracks with reality. Like, how do you observe any of this shit? You listen to people's experiences. What if they're lying? Well, fuck. That's what I thought demi meant also. Yeah. I mean, demi is like, what is that? Latin for semi? I can't remember. Half.
Multigender could be any number of things, whereas polygender doesn't usually refer to being demigender. It doesn't usually refer to being gender fluid or gender flux.
That's really odd. I'm sure he said multigender was, like, more specific than polygender. I don't know. I'm getting lost already.
It usually refers to entire distinct genders. Some people also might just prefer one over the other. Someone might say that they're multigender without specifying any kind of label. Some people might say polygender. And
well, mostly people just say queer without specifying any kind of label. And I'm just like, okay, that tells me nothing about you. Let's talk about literally anything else.
Use that in the same exact way. It really just depends on what the preference is. But multigender, you can remember, is the larger term, the larger umbrella term.
I mean, hey, I'm more or less a medically induced asexual, so I don't fucking know.
Quigender and castgender, the larger umbrella term.
I really wish you'd put the words up here, because I don't know what some of them are meant to be.
Quigender.
Quigender. How do you spell that? Like Mitchell Quai? Sorry, if you don't know who Mitchell Quai is, he was a murderer in the UK. He went on, like, the TV, and there were these people with the cameras were asking him things like, did you kill your wife? And he's like, we'll find out. And he's like, what does a psychopath look like? All this kind of shit, like, just baiting them so hard. That's what quigender makes me think of. Maybe I am quigender in that case. How to debunk sex transports arguments. Sex, not gender identity. Yeah. That's how I think it should be done. I mean, hey, maybe there should be more conversations if more research comes out, or the transition process, like, improves. But even then, you've still got the sort of philosophical thing about, should males be in with females in women's sports, which is supposed to be for females. So it's kind of, it's still. I don't think we're ever going to get in a place where there's acceptance for, like, trans sports. Qui-Gon Jinn rip. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get killed by Darth Maul. I guess that's quigender.
You can remember is the larger term, the larger umbrella term. Quigender and castgender.
Castgender.
Larger term, the larger umbrella term. Quigender and castgender.
I think he said castgender. I'm just going to carry on because I have no idea what either of those are.
Quigender refers to kind of an umbrella.
What's this, another fucking umbrella? Oh my god. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even know what this reminds me of. I'll think about that, I guess. It's just like, it's like getting to the end of a maze and you open a door being like, fucking finally. And it's just like an even worse maze. And it's like, okay then, this is the rest of my life now.
Of experiences of either not knowing what your gender is, feeling that you have kind of a hazy.
You're quigender if you don't know what your gender is. Or even like agnosticism. That's like saying agnosticism is a religion now. It's like, geez, where are we going next? Tricky thing is, even if transition technology, it would massively incentivize reward transiting yourself. Potentially, yeah. One of the arguments, I guess, is that like male athletes can trans and then be up against like less strong competition. So, and I can't put that past anyone. You get all these people that are like, who's actually going to do that though? And it's like, have you not met people? There's some pretty crazy people out there. I'm going to stick my umbrella up his ass to be more sensitive. Yeah, I don't know. You might have to, because we're not stopping anytime soon, I don't think.
Feeling of gender, or that you feel gender.
I can't put my finger what my gender is. I guess I must be quigender. Ooh. See, that's much better than like gender agnostic or some shit. Quigender. Yeah.
Doesn't really apply to you. It's a number of different things, and caste gender can fall under that. Caste gender is just another word for gender apathetic.
Gender apathetic. So you don't like care what your gender is? You're just like, oh, my gender's just whatever. I don't know. Nice.
And quigender includes gender apathy. So 2 different words for very similar experiences, but quigender.
I have no idea what the fucking experience of any of these things is like. What do you mean? Like, very different experiences. Like, do people like experience their gender? Maybe I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm very cynical about this. But like, what's the experience of any of these like genders? Like, I don't know what I feel like. I don't go around being like, oh yeah, I really feel like a woman today. I really feel like a man today. Oh, I'm kind of just in between, you know? I'm like a bit of both. I'm non-binary today. It's like, I don't know. I'm just me. Can I just be me? Identify as caste gender for supporting the caste report. Same. That is what it made me think of. I was like, are they sure they want to go with that one?
Gender is an umbrella term.
I bet if you asked an activist who takes stuff a little serious what quigender or gender flux is, they wouldn't tell you. They would treat me like I'm taking the piss. They'd be like, oh, look it up, educate yourself. Because, I don't know. We used to feel an obligation to like tell people our experiences and like educate people a little, because that helps people be less like transphobic or whatever. But nowadays it's like, oh, it's not my job to educate you because these people live important lives being disabled and being on Twitter, I guess. I don't know.
For a number.
Listen, if you're disabled, there's no hate from me.
Just kind of, you don't know. You're not sure like what your gender might be. You're not sure if gender even applies to you as a concept.
So not everyone has, but then gender is a the lack of gender is literally a gender. Oh God, I don't know how I'm supposed to like, this doesn't make any sense. How do you square this whole thing?
You're not sure if gender even applies to you as a concept.
How does gender apply or not apply to a person? What are the differences between people that means one gender applies to and another one it doesn't? I don't know.
We have omnigender versus pangender. Just by its root.
Omnigender sounds extremely DGG pilled and therefore transphobic.
Words, they sound absolutely identical. Pangender is.
How do I not get any headache from that? I don't know. The thing is, like, I used to be like very soy and like not into this kind of stuff so much, but like very trans rights, yay, and all that. But it means that I just really haven't ever watched any of this shit. So it's kind of, I guess the novelty is still fun. It probably will start mincing my brain in a few months, but I don't know.
Every single gender, being every single gender within your own culture.
What is DGG? Community to do with the streamer Destiny. He calls himself like an omni-liberal or something. And trans people like to call him transphobic. I pointed at him when I said trans. I have no idea if this person is trans or not. So anything at all. You are every gender that you possibly have access to. Gender. Yeah, I'm in a cult called DGG. I am in his Discord server. I've never posted in there, but I don't think I've ever posted on anyone else's Discord because like I just don't know how to like join conversations, if that makes sense. If someone's halfway through a conversation, I'm just like, okay, I'll just come back later. Being every single gender within your own culture. So anything at all. You are every gender that you possibly have access to. The worst thing is, because I even brought that up at all, I'm probably going to get plenty of comments calling me a DGGer now. It's going to be the next thing everyone goes for. You got yeeted in from 2017. Fair enough. I've never been part of these kind of like communities and stuff. I'm not really that good at like socializing on the internet as if I'm good at socializing in real life. Get some 420. Hey, how you doing? Omnigender is kind of the same thing, but it often refers to an almost uncountable number of genders. I have an uncountable number of genders. Oh my god. The thing is, like, uncountable number of genders, it kind of suggests that there is a number of genders, which it used to be 52, now it's like 72 or some shit. That's what people say anyway. And it's like, I don't know, I can't, either it's like a spectrum or it's just male and female, like sexes, surely. How can there be like so many distinct categories, so many like secure categories of like gender that literally you can be all of them, you can be so many that you can't even count all the different ones? And how the fuck does that work? What is someone's experience actually like? Because if I ask someone, I feel like I don't know if I'd even believe them. I'd be like, are you taking something? I don't know.
Or almost all genders. Or you're every gender and there is a...
almost all genders. So if two people are like omnigender and one person identifies as all the genders and one of them identifies as all of them except, I don't know, quigender, what's the difference between those two people then? Your parents asked how many people live in India. The guy said uncountable. To be fair, it's a very busy country. Is it what, India, like second or third most populated in the world or something? There's a lot of people there.
Distinction between them. Pangender doesn't normally have a distinction between genders. It's just the overall statement of I have every gender.
I have every gender. What does that mean? I'm closest to apathetic gender, I think. Not giving a fuck about my gender. Yeah, same. I don't identify as anything because I don't think you really do identify as things. I think people really just kind of either make stuff up or listen to someone like this and then pick one from the list that makes them feel special or some shit. I don't know. I'm very cynical. Like, I'd be happy to talk to someone who feels like they can explain it to me. I'll listen, you know. I'm interested in like any kind of ideas pretty much, but trying to find someone like that who would actually talk to me is probably going to be difficult. So I don't know.
Omnigender is like, I have every gender and here's what they are. And I feel these.
Oh my God. So if someone's an omnigender, you just ask them to list their genders and then they'll just be stood there talking all day, I guess. If it's like almost uncountable. So like an omnigender person could have like 30 genders or 40 genders. What's the difference? Like, what's the difference in experience? Is one of them experience more gender? Or is it like different gender? I don't. This is like wild.
These at different times.
Identifying as sounds like a conscious vocabulary action rather than subconscious state of being. Yeah, I agree.
I feel this right now, and I'm going to feel this like later. I don't know why you would predict what gender you would feel in the future, but maybe some people can. Maybe they got it on a shelf and they're saving it for when they have to go out to, like,
I don't know. People can read my mind, so they can probably do all sorts.
Like a party or something, and they just pop open a bottle of that gender, and there you go. But Omnigender typically specifies genders, or it implies that it's not every gender, but it's almost every gender.
I thought omni meant every. Does it not? Like omnipotent means like all powerful, right? All of all things. Okay, so this is like silly. Okay. This is like when you have like black and then dark black and then like black is black. It's like we have to add ones because it's like, oh no, there's more genders and the other omnis, they think there's still old ones and they're not omni anymore. So now we have to add another thing. They are making it up as they go along, but they expect us to already know what they've just figured out what big is. Yeah, kinda. I don't know. There must be some way of like approaching and like getting information about all this shit without them thinking you're taking the piss, but I have no idea how to do it. And I'm literally fucking trans. Like, if I started calling myself non-binary, no one would fucking bat an eye, I wouldn't have thought, unless they've spoken to me before. And there's also pangender, where pan also means all. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, when you start having different shades of black and stuff like that, it's like, okay, which is the blackest? I don't know.
To the point where you can't really count them. That's where you get terms like bigender, trigender, quadgender, and at a certain point it's like, well, this is just omnigender. I can't count them. So pangender is
Can't count past 4. Sorry, I'm just kidding. That was a cheap shot. I do apologize.
the overall, like, every gender. And then omnigender, it's parallel to that. I wouldn't really say that omnigender can fall under pangender, but maybe it does. I've always seen them as two different terms that are related to one another and very similar, but
I completely disagree. We should debate on these minuscule terms. Hang on, what did he say again so I can remember what I'm disagreeing with?
and then omnigender, it's parallel to that. I wouldn't really say.
For some reason, he reminds me. Does anyone know who Uncle Dane is? For some reason, he reminds me of like a skinnier Uncle Dane. He's a TF2 YouTuber. I used to play TF2 a lot, so I watched him like a ton at the time. I think he works with like iDubbbz and is on their not very good podcast.
That omnigender can fall under pangender, but maybe it does. I've always seen them as two different terms that are.
Nope, omni definitely falls under pangender. We're going to have to debate about this now.
Related to one another and very similar, but I never pictured pangender.
I'll do my best like tomfoolery or like Stardust impression where I just get hung up on some really minuscule point and just act like a complete autist about it.
Being like the umbrella term for omnigender, but it can be. Depends on how you conceptualize these genders in your head. Androgen versus androgynous. A lot of people are familiar with androgyny. A lot of people have heard the term androgynous. It's usually...
I'm guessing it's been like completely bastardized from what most people generally think of as androgynous. I'm guessing it has some weird meaning of some kind now.
A presentation or expression that combines masculine and feminine qualities. A lot of the time, it's kind of an indistinguishable gender, but not all the time. Sometimes you can lean more one way than the other. Sometimes there's a perfect blend. And
yeah, androgynous isn't actually a gender. I mean, I guess it is now. They've coined it as one, but that's not really what it means.
Being androgynous,
like, you don't identify as androgynous. It's something you are if, like, say you're a woman but you wear like shirts, trousers and have short hair or something, or you're a male and you have long hair and wear makeup, you know. That kind of thing.
Could mean you cannot distinguish a gender. There is no like looking kind of feminine, looking kind of masculine. It is a blend that...
Does that mean this also applies to race? I'm half Chinese and Mexican. Does that mean I can one day... Maybe, I don't know. Listen, I'm white. I'm not allowed to talk about race. I'll get in trouble. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's some transracial gurus out there that can explain it better. Because I mean, this guy's white as well. He's probably not gonna be into that kind of stuff.
It makes it hard to distinguish either of them. But
yeah, I still don't know what he even thinks that gender is. I don't know what any of the people that talk about this shit think gender actually is. I don't even know what I think it is anymore because there's so many different definitions and it's so complicated. It seems like that's all this has done, has made it as complicated as possible. And I'm like, no, it's like really simple and that. It's like, if you feel like every gender at once, you're omnigender. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I built an entire geometry dash level about the different gender flags back before I question stuff. Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
But for some people, it's just a blend of masculine and feminine together. And sometimes you can see that distinction in the way that they present or express themselves. Androgen is the combination of male and female. It is a multi-gender identity.
Yeah, see, sometimes I feel like a lot of the non-binary stuff is just fashion. It's just like a fashion movement with more of an identity component attached. It's like, it's the next logical step from like going around wearing black clothes and calling yourself a goth, you know, because there's kind of an identity aspect to that, but this is like much further than that. And it's like, yeah, it seems really obvious to me. I don't know why. I don't know why people don't seem to see it that way. I just find this whole thing is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, what country are you from? Yeah, oh, thank you. Listen, I want to show stuff off and I want to like engage with it and criticize it. That's mainly the point. Because like all this kind of stuff is like swept through any community I've been anywhere near. Okay, nice. I've never been.
Sometimes you can see that distinction in the way that they present or express themselves. Androgen is the combination of male and female. It is a multi-gender identity. It also exists in between male and female. It depends on how the person wants to use that label, but it is not masculine and feminine.
And then the labels also depend on how people want to use. Oh my god. I'm so, like, I don't know. He said something that was like, it made it sound like it was just a fashion thing. Like, oh, because you look like you're somewhere between male and female. Like, okay. That sounds like a very roundabout way of saying that some men are a bit feminine and some women are a bit masculine. Any chance all these genders are made up by big flag manufacturer companies? I would not be surprised.
It is male and female, so these are distinct genders rather than gender qualities. I talked about gender qualities.
Gender quality. Oh, and we have to find a whole other video to understand what that means. Okay, great.
Versus genders.
Listen, I'm not slagging him off. It's just the whole concept is like goofy, you know? It's very goofy. And it's, again, it's fine. It's innocent enough, or it should be. But it's like people want this to be like, treat this like it's like fact. Like it's like an observable thing in as much as male and female are, because men have penises and women don't. You know what I mean? I can't wait for the gender quality video. I mean, I'll have a quick look down his channel to see what else he like looks at. I mean, he's you know, I don't have any problem with him himself. I just think all this is goofy, you know? I'm not like trying to shit on him. It's more about the content and the ideas, you know?
Gender qualities being masculine, feminine, neutral. Genders being male, female, neutroid, things like that.
Neutroids, what was it? Two-spirit neutroids penguin. Was that the meme? I can't remember.
So androgen is the combination of male and female. Androgynous is the combination of masculine and feminine.
Androgen. Doesn't that mean something else? I'm sure that means something else. Like an androgen, as in like a thing. Yeah, a substance capable of developing and maintaining. Yeah, like testosterone and stuff, I think. Yeah, steroid hormone, which is what testosterone is. So an androgen is like testosterone and things like that, but is a gender now as well. Great.
Aporagender and Maverique. Aporagender refers to anything that is not male, not female, existing not anywhere in between those, but is also not genderless. So
didn't we have this already? There was agender, which wasn't part of the binary at all. Yes, the Piers Morgan thing. It was like gender, two-spirit, gender neutroids penguin or some shit. I actually watched that video a while ago. I think it was one of those Benjamin Butterworth ones. Like, watching him get his ass kicked over and over was hilarious.
It's a genderedness between those, but is also not genderless. So it's a genderedness.
Like, I'll be honest, I do not really like Piers Morgan. I think he's one of those kind of fake centrist types, and he's a bit of a pussy when he wants to be, but I don't know. He brings on a lot of different people, and he has a lot of conversations. I can't fault him for that. Androgen gender introducing another dimension. God. Neither mask nor femme. I don't know. I guess you'd, fuck, I really don't know, actually. We do live in quite a gendered kind of society. For better or worse.
That is abinary.
Abinary. Oh, fuck, I forgot. Non-binary and abinary are different things. I forgot. Jesus Christ. I'm forgetting all the stuff from here. So it's like now I'm hearing stuff that sounds the same as it again. And I'm like, wait.
Also not genderless. So it's a genderedness that is abinary.
A genderedness that is abinary. No, stop laughing. Just watch. We're not taking the piss out of any of this.
Maverique is a genderedness that is.
So Maverique, apparently this guy's drawn to, you can't see this, but there's a, it shows the recommendation. Just got here, this guy needs to work on his decorating. I am a little confused as to the stripes. I guess they're folded in some way. I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Abinary, but it does not include neutral. It does not include ness. those, but is also not genderless. So it's a genderedness that is abinary. Maverique is a genderedness that is abinary.
So it's also a genderedness that is abinary. Listen, I'm trying to take this seriously, but I can't. It's difficult, okay? It's difficult. This is new to me. I'm just a small bean uwu or something. I don't know. Did I assume he's gender? I did assume his gender, but that's only because he has a beard and a mustache.
But it does not include neutral.
So it's, let me see if I got this straight. It's abinary, but not genderless, and doesn't include neutral. That's the difference between Maverique and something else. I can't remember. Made mini versions of flags out of paper because I like the colors, not because I believe in everything. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things. It's like, it's almost sinister in a way. Like, I can imagine the kids see all the colors and it's like, yeah, this is great. And it's like, is it though? Hey, B, hey, how you doing? Is your picture of Simon Cowell, by the way? It looks like Simon Cowell. I could be wrong. If it's you, I'm really sorry if I just said you look like Simon Cowell. It's a really small icon, okay?
It does not include masculine or feminine. It is farther outside of the gender binary than aporagender is.
Wait, so it doesn't include neutral and then is...
Include neutral. It does not include masculine or feminine. It is farther outside.
This is the one this person's drawn to, apparently. Further outside masculine or feminine. I mean... In terms of presentation, there's quite a clear gender going on here. That's all I'll say, I guess.
Of the gender binary than aporagender is. So it is not neutral, and neither of them are genderless, and neither of them are in any way related to male or female. So, understandably,
this is the kind of thing that makes me understand, like, It makes me understand like the TERF kind of gender abolition stuff, to be honest with you. I don't know how any of this is observable. I don't know what he's just explained the difference between stuff and it makes zero sense to me. I don't know. Listen, no offense to the guy again, like I'll say if I like really don't like a particular person, but if I don't say anything, I probably actually have no problem with them. And like, listen, maybe he just really loves the flags too and like loves the concepts and stuff, but he also recognizes sex and stuff like that. Maybe he's like secretly based. You don't know. You don't know.
You might.
I'm just being extremely optimistic because all of my videos look depressing as fuck.
Mix the two up, but aporagender is kind of the larger term. It kind of encompasses more identities because it encompasses neutrality, and Maverique is an aporagender. Aporin is the gender quality related to be
outside the binary, so it's like a 5. I mean, I more identify as a 7 myself.
Being aporagender, neutrality.
So what was it? Apora is like bigger than Maverique because Apora includes gender neutrality.
And Maverique is an aporagender. Aporin is...
Yeah. See, I got it. It's making sense now. Maverique comes under aporagender. Just don't ask me to tell you what either of those things are, I guess, and we're fine.
The gender quality related to being aporagender. So they're kind of related in that way. They have the same gender quality. Maverique is distinguished by its gender autonomy, by its way of self-identifying and being...
Is not all of this like self-identified? Oh, thank you, Wolfie's Apps. How you doing?
Entirely outside of any kind of gender construct. Just not being genderless. So agender would not be considered an aporagender, and it would not be considered Maverique because there's a genderedness to the two of these terms. So aporagender, not male or female.
I'm just even more curious as to what he defines gender as at this point. Like maybe there's a video where he goes into it. I hope so, because like Jesus Christ, there's a lot of like a lot of assumed knowledge, I guess.
there is agenderedness, and a lot of neutral genders can be aporagender. Maverique, outside of male, female, masculine, feminine, and anything in between those, and not neutral and not genderless. There are a lot of terms out there that...
No, I have no idea. I literally have nothing. The many different genders are indeed a bit confusing and overwhelming. Yeah, I have no idea. A lot of this, I have no idea how it would be observable, how someone would explain an experience that differs it in any way. I don't know. To be honest, I don't believe in like the transgender umbrella. Maybe there's a non-binary or queer umbrella. I don't think this really relates to like trans myself. And it's like, if you can identify as one of these and that makes you trans, then we've kind of become completely meaningless. And I don't know. I don't like using a label that also means basically nothing. You know what I mean? I wonder if this person has a job IRL not related to gender. Oh, because of like the way they look and stuff. Because yeah, they said that they're drawn to Maverique personally. Yeah, maybe. Some of these kinds of people tend to have to like present normally
are incredibly similar to one another, or they seem almost identical in their definitions. There's always specific distinctions to tell them apart, but there's a lot of words for things. There's a lot of words for genders. A lot of labels out there.
See, this to me is just like confusing it. Like, this is making it so that no one understands what gender is anymore, which makes sense if you're the kind of person that wants to abolish it. It would be a bit odd for this person to want to abolish it when they're clearly very interested in it, you know? I find that gender as a whole is mostly about finding community. Even about finding community, that's like odd. Like, that's a gender, wanting community. I don't know about that. And communicating how you feel in a way that others can better understand. Oof. I think unfortunately it's getting quite difficult to understand. I think that's my contention.
If you can think of any that I did not mention, let me know. I just kind of came up with what I thought were some really good main kind of commonly known genders in the queer community that I...
Searching for a community by creating new gender category. I see some truth in it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people do use these kind of things to find community. I mean, I personally think that some people transition for the community aspect, but, you know, obviously it's difficult to, like, prove that kind of thing. Like, I believe in the social contagion thing, but I also know that it's difficult to prove, and I don't think it happens to, like, everyone. I think it depends on what the person is, you know?
I wanted to, like, talk about. Yeah, anyway, I hope everyone's doing well.
It's about having the words to express that others didn't know where to look. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know, this whole thing completely like alienates me, and I wouldn't mind, but like, you're kind of forced to believe in a lot of stuff if you want to be part of like your own communities, like if you're trans or like a bit like queer in some way yourself, you know? And it's like, I don't know, I don't know. This is part of trans apparently, and I don't relate, but sure.
I'm gonna spend the rest of my day cleaning because I've done all of the videos I need to record.
Okay, that's the end of that video. I'm just gonna have a look at what kind of stuff he does. I didn't assume anyone's gender. I got A's pronouns right the first time, thank you. I don't know what AM is. I think one of the Poppy and Xena people use it. Okay, we did that already. Non-binary versus abinary. Can you see, like, A pronouns? Yeah, I have no idea. I don't really use neo-pronouns, but if someone explains to me what their particular one is, maybe I'll consider it. Everyone builds community around gender is more about finding safe places. Why do these people feel unsafe, though? I don't know. And I mean, I don't know, interest in gender, it does feel a little bit, it feels a bit like navel gazing. It feels a bit narcissistic. I don't want to use such a strong word, but that's what it feels like. I watched a video before Xenogender is a descriptor and not a gender. Okay, when it gets to xenogenders, it's like, no, just fuck off. I don't. That's fine. Oh, he's a demi-boy. Someone was asking about demi-boy earlier. Let's just look at this quickly. Why does he still call himself a demi-boy? I feel unsafe 90% of the time as a woman in public. Oof, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, I don't know, I'm quite tall. I walk quite purposefully. In the US, many red states are very unsafe for LGBT people. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have that experience. I live in the UK.
This is the latest blood glucose, blood pressure.
I live in the UK and I get no problems, so I don't know. And I don't know how this kind of stuff would this kind of stuff, I don't know how it improves, it would bring safety. I think it would just kind of make people segregate off into like smaller and smaller groups. And then they'll probably change their mind at some point and get abandoned.
An oxygen measurement device developed by St. Thomas Hospital.
Yeah, the word safe is like, I almost just disregard it at this point on instinct, because the amount of times people use it like confusingly or vaguely, I don't know. I've had someone tell me that they felt unsafe around me because I once said something to do with Demi Lovato not using they them pronouns anymore, and they thought I was like attacking non-binary people. I don't know. This is why I don't deal with those kind of people anymore, because it's like I can't say anything around you and you're going to say that I'm unsafe to be around, which is kind of offensive to me because I have like mental health issues. I don't think that makes me dangerous, you know. As philosophy students get abstract to the idea of gender. Maybe, yeah. This is the thing, like, it's all very unfalsifiable, which is why I make certain, like, religion comparisons.
What's up, everyone?
So yeah, why is this person a demi-boy? Let's find out. I mean, he says he calls himself a demi-boy. That's better than saying you are one. Safe because you can be yourself around people you can trust. I don't trust anyone, so I guess I'm used to being unsafe but not really caring. I don't know. Trust instead of being harassed or violently attacked to it when not in a space that you know are safe. How would people know if you're like one of those genders? I'm not sure. I don't know. Unless they have like all different specific presentation styles, I'm just not sure. I don't know. I don't live in a red state. Listen, I don't live in a place that is particularly religiously, you know, the UK is quite secular, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And people call it Turf Island. I'm not unsafe here, I don't think. I'm a white person. It's not white people like me that are generally the trans people getting murdered, you know.
Alex here, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. I wanted to talk.
Oh, he's got one of those tattoos, hasn't he?
And welcome to my little.
Those ones. I hate that tattoo. I hate it. The issue is genre group demands conformity, so you're pressured not to be yourself. See, the thing is, in like trans circles, I found I had to like repress myself. Because like, I don't know, I'm a lot as a person, and I act a certain way, and around specific people, I kind of actually am myself, but I'm quite a lot when I'm being myself. And I felt like I couldn't express any of my opinions without getting screamed at by someone. So that's kind of how I felt. Gender is more about how a person feels. So yeah, so how do people know? So how would someone know that you're like a certain gender to have any reason to make you feel unsafe? Do you know what I mean? The way of expressing how you feel about your identity. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I think all of this is perfectly like innocent and stuff. The other thing is this is very enforced, especially on like trans circles. That's another thing I'm very like, I don't think it's right to do so. I don't think it's right to lump all this stuff in with trans either.
Corner of the internet. I wanted to talk about why I call myself a demi-boy.
Fully inclusive spaces don't force people to be anything but themselves. I don't know if that's true. I think that quite a lot of these spaces, maybe they start out that way, but often they seem to be very ideological. I mean, these are the ones I've come across. Maybe we've known different people, but yeah. What do you believe the word trans means? I think you're trans if you're going from one to the other. I think if you're transitioning from male to female or female to male, or you have the intention to, but not the, say, the money or the time or something, like intention. But I think it's, you know, I use transsexual. I don't really think transgender is much of a thing. Because, I mean, if you're male but identify as demi-boy, it's like, is that trans? Like, how is that trans?
I mean, I came out as a demi-boy in 2017, somewhere around there. I think it was 2017.
I went to a fully inclusive space. I'd get excluded, saying the wrong thing, violent with my speech. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that kind of extreme, apart from one person who told me they felt unsafe around me, which was ridiculous. But I do kind of, that's more my my experience, unfortunately. And like my experience specifically is more with like trans groups, but they usually end up starting to expand, you know. When do you become a demi-man? I don't know. Do you have to listen to every Demi Lovato song, maybe? Within a subculture group, subcultural capital exists. External presentation is seen as bad. Yeah, like this subcultural capital thing is something I've been like getting at for years. Because when I say that I think that certain people transition for like clout, that's the kind of thing I mean. And I'm not saying people do generally transition for clout, but I've literally known people that have, and they didn't even transition. It was just a new name and a pronoun, so I don't know.
And when I first heard about the word, I heard about it before, but it really I kind of connected with that term when I was dating someone who was a demi-boy, and like...
Social contagion, but okay.
I had heard about this term, and then...
Wait, I mean, that's a very clear example of social contagion. Does that suggest that trans might be as well? I don't know. Maybe trans is referring to transgender, not transsexual. See, when I say I'm trans, I'm referring to transsexual. So we're different in that way. Transsexual is transgender. See, all of this is just complications. Like, what's the need for this transgender label? I don't see the need for it. And if there is a need for it, like, it should be further and more clearly separated from transsexual, because a lot of people don't understand the difference. Like, I don't really see the point in adding in that kind of additional step, because it's just making it more confusing. Transgender is just to identify as... Yeah, see, I reject that definition. I don't think that's true. I think that's something that someone that wrote the DSM came up with. To me, there's a lot more to it than that, and it's something a lot more specific than that. And if you want to be like non-binary and identify as something else, then that's fine. Like, why not call it non-binary or queer or something? I think that's perfectly fine. I just don't know why it's attached to trans when my transition has got nothing to do with identity. You know, I felt discomfort at my gender, so I changed. I don't identify as anything. I'm just me.
Dating this person kind of made me more aware of that label. So I was like, I found myself looking at this label on like the gender wiki sites, and, you know, looking at like the flag and the history of like the term being coined and all that. And I found myself really connecting with this word. I have tons of videos where I talk about being a demi-boy and how that came to be, why Right, my guess is that he's not really going to explain too much about what it actually is, because he's already done other videos about it. So I'm just going to have to look up demi-boy very quickly, because I actually still don't know what it means. What's a demi-boy? Or demi-guy, demi-man, demi-male, or demi-dude? Demi-dude. Is that if you're in like California? Is that what that is? Person who identifies with aspects of masculinity regardless of their sex assigned at birth. Isn't that just you're male and somewhat masculine? See, I just don't know. I just don't see the point, personally. I'm sorry, I don't. You want to call yourself that, fair enough. It's not like you're hurting anyone, but I don't see the point. And like, again, I wouldn't mind, but this kind of stuff is like, this kind of stuff has completely swamped like trans communities that I've been anywhere near. So, yeah, it's like you have to believe in this kind of stuff in a lot of places. You have to think you have the right to be disrespectful in any space you're part of. Otherwise, I can't think of a reason why people would say you are violent with your speech. Well, people might exaggerate the harm of someone's speech to try and shut them up, for example. Like, you shouldn't assume that the group is correct and is saying it for a reason. Like, that's quite dangerous. Use that label, like what it means to me, but when I say...
20 years ago, I don't remember gender identity being the main point of discussion. Well, that's because it probably wasn't. I don't know. I mean, fuck, when I was transitioning in like 2015, I don't really remember like gender identity coming up then either. I'm sure the concept was around.
Why?
The problem is who chooses what is and isn't. Yes, that's a huge problem, is people like define these words weirdly, you know, like transphobic. What does the person actually mean when they say something's transphobic? Like, they might mean something that's not transphobic at all. My communities have had conservatives are only not welcome if they're hating or spreading information, which a lot of conservatives. Okay, let's maybe not like generalize people so much. Like, I don't really want people being like racist and shit. Like, we can do the same with like conservatives, but like I don't know what communities you've been in. I'd have to see for myself, because like I don't mean this as like as an offense to you, but I just don't trust people when they talk about this kind of stuff. Like, I've come across a lot of communities that would not be welcoming to like conservatives, regardless of if they're like supportive or not, because as soon as they say the first thing, it sounds to me like you might have joined echo chambers that are very hateful. I think you should be careful of assuming you know what someone's life is like, because that's what you're doing when you say you might have joined echo chambers. Well, what if you're wrong? What if he isn't part of any echo chambers?
Why do I call myself a demi boy? Why do I use that label when there's so many other labels that refer to my identity, like, you know, the bigender label? Like, why call myself a demi boy still to this day? So malehood has always been incredibly important to me. I had a video where I talked.
Okay, we're speeding up because I'm beginning to get a bit bored of this topic, but let's speed up a bit. Like, to me, I had no idea why this label is sounds like. Well, what does that even mean then? To me, it sounds like this. Well, you're wrong. Okay. I don't know. I just hate those. I just hate those arguments. I don't think just saying, well, it sounds like you've done this or it sounds like you're doing that. It's like, what does that mean? Like, I can just say, no, that's wrong. And then that's it. Like, okay.
About what masculinity meant for me. And in a way, yeah, it does tie into my malehood. I never want to view malehood as an intrinsically masculine experience. I'm still very stubborn about that viewpoint. Like, as in a way, yeah, it does tie into my malehood. I never want to view malehood as an intrinsically masculine experience. I
don't want to view malehood as an intrinsically masculine experience. Jesus, it's like riddles.
Into my malehood. I never want to view malehood as an intrinsically masculine experience.
So I guess it's another way of saying malehood can be masculine or feminine, which I guess I agree with.
I'm still very stubborn.
Yeah, see when people say like people have disrespectful views, yeah, the problem is how people like define it. Like, I get called transphobic like constantly, but it's like, it's the way that people define it, you know what I mean? So they might not be talking about anything that I consider transphobia whatsoever. So if someone truly believes that rain is literally angels crying and spread that information as fact, we should assume it isn't misinfo and is in fact because another person believes it. That kind of feels like what a lot of these gender people are doing, to be honest.
Stubborn about that viewpoint. Like, that's fine if that's someone else's experience, but I never want to say like, oh, male, that's a masculine gender. And
I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm going to move on. Yeah, I don't know. I think all of this is, it would be fine if it was just people exploring things and having fun, but unfortunately there's kind of, I'm not talking about this guy so much now, but there's definitely like a political element to all this that doesn't need to be there. And unfortunately, the same with trans. I hate that trans is politicized myself. But yeah, I don't know. I can't help but find a lot of this stuff sinister, I guess. But hey, at least he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. I'm trying to find something to say because I'm just like, I feel like I've been spun around like 1,000 times.